Hello and welcome to tonight's show.
Episode 174 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. This episode is being brought to you by our latest Patreon supporter, James Smith. You too can help support the show just like James. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per month upwards. Your contributions are greatly appreciated and help us with our hosting and production costs. And again, a huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters whose generous support help you bring this fantastic show.
Hi, I'm Scott, the creator and owner of the Scale Modeler Supply, Australia's largest manufacturer of hobby paints. Our premium airbrush-ready acrylic lacquer paints are designed specifically for use on plastics, with a comprehensive range covering all popular modelling subjects including military, aircraft, rail, auto, sci-fi and more. And not only that, but we also have a wide selection of essential hobby tools and now, infinite colour, and new range of water-based paints for miniatures. So to check out our range and to find your closest retailer, please visit our website at scalemodeler.com.au. So when quality matters, choose SMS Paints.
And hello and welcome to the show. And in the studio I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day listeners.
And of course Julian.
Good morning.
How are we, gentlemen?
Yeah, good.
What's been happening?
Working on the group build.
I got to say, I can't believe how that's gone boom and just exploded. And so many people
I'm
jumped
really
on
happy
board.
with the way people have jumped on it.
I didn't believe there's so many car building weirdos out there.
Well, actually, a lot of them aren't car builders. They're just getting on.
Yeah, that's true.
Getting on with it, yeah.
And I see Tracy, damn him, has finished his already.
Yes, yeah, he doesn't muck around.
No, he doesn't.
Mate, it's going to take me months just to get the body half decent on mine.
Yeah, you were telling me while we're having breakfast how much issues you've got with that thing.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It took 2 days just to cut the resin away from the windscreen openings, from the window openings.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's so thick. It's super thick.
Oh, okay.
And especially the rear window, because that on the edges it curves downwards.
Yeah.
And then hooks back up towards the bottom section, so you got to carefully get in there. And it's so thick, which means I've got to try and grind all the window openings on the inside out, so I can get a bit of scale thickness. I've got to replace the bonnet pins. I've got to replace the fuel cap.
You're going to be buying aftermarket or?
No, I'm just going to use plasticard. Because especially the fuel cap, it's a special type of fuel cap. It's not like a round one. It's more a squarish oval shape.
All right.
What else? Oh, yeah, because it's cast resin. As you know, with cast resin, you have different shrinkage.
Right.
The interior has shrunk way too much. So
Okay.
the interior basically has like a 2 mil gap. So a good millimetre gap on either side, which is, you think, it's only a millimetre, but when you put it in there, it's a huge chasm. So I'm going to have to basically try and scratch build the interior for it now.
Yeah.
Or cut it up and widen it somehow.
Can't you just slap some strips of styrene on the sides?
No, because you ended up having a windowsill that's going to be a door that's going to look like it's about a foot thick.
Oh,
at
so
the top.
Oh, okay.
What's the other one? Oh, yeah, and not only is it too small, but it's twisted. So you've got these slots at the front where you can drop your dashboard in, and when you drop your dashboard in, the front left-hand side is nearly up under the front of the car.
Mm.
It's just pushed all the way forward, so it just doesn't sit straight, and the doors are different. The inside of the doors are a different size to the outside of the doors. So yeah,
just chuck it in the well of tears and just go and do something else.
No, I'm going to keep going with it. And then I once I got most of that cut away, and then I decided, all right, I'll cover the whole thing in flat black paint, and then wet sand it back to its resin.
Yeah.
Oh, the amount of flaws that showed up because it's yellowy resin, and then with the black just shows up all the dents and so forth, and it's shocking. And then I noticed that the rear taillight panel sits down on the right-hand side, significantly further than the left-hand side. So I'm going to have to... There's no way of fixing it bar cutting it out and rebuilding it.
Wow.
So,
yeah. Sucks to be you, dude. What about you, Julian? How's your car going?
So the body of my car, which is being stripped.
Yep.
Yeah, it's still sitting in a bathtub of isopropyl alcohol.
Mm.
So I did turn it over. I feel like a chef, you know. Yeah, okay. So I've done it. I'd give it once turn over, and so what happened is I put it in for like 24 hours, came back, turned it over, and I stuck my finger in it, and yeah, it's gummy. The paint's gone gummy, so it's having an effect, and I'll probably have to
get toothbrush in there.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So what was wrong with the paint job?
It wasn't to his standard.
That's fair enough.
So it was a really nice paint job.
It was an awesome paint job.
But I'd laid down two very thick coats of clear, and it was enough to actually fill up the panel lines on the upper surface. You know, like on the where the trunk is.
Yep.
Yeah, and because it's mostly clear, you could actually and because it was like a metallic paint job to begin with, and that when that metallic stuff is like coloured flakes in essentially like a blue tint.
Yep.
Right. So visibly, when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's filled up the panel line, but when you run your finger over it, you can clearly see that it has.
It's filled,
and you wouldn't be able to run a panel liner through it.
Yep.
And I thought I could leave that. I could really leave that. It would be so easy to do so, but I'm not going to.
No. I thought you could have left it because of the natural
shrinkage.
No. Because it's like in a crevice, the paint naturally darkened anyway, so it already had that sort of look as if there was a... You didn't need to put panel liner, in my opinion, along there. You could have got away with it.
I reckon it looks better with a panel line through the doors anyway. Enhances them a bit more.
You can't do it on the other panel lines and then not do it there.
Yeah, that's true. But that's true. See, I guess that's why I've never won a competition with a car. In fact, that's never why I built a car.
I mean, also, I've done this would be my second car that I've painted with a metallic paint job, and I didn't think too much about it at the time because I didn't actually look at my work, and because when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's a nice model, that's a nice paint job. I think I did an okay job on that. I've squared it away to a point where I'm happy with it, but then now that I'm actually getting rid of this paint job, I've sort of had the time to look at actual cars, and you look at the size of the sparkles. It's like a lot of those metallic paint jobs, you can't tell they're metallic until you walk up close, and your eyes are like, I don't know, within 15, 30 centimetres away from the car, and then you're like, oh, there, I can see the little sparkles in it.
It's like Michelle's car, which I just bought her. I mean, she's pearl white, and unless you're standing 2 foot away, any more than 2 or 3 feet away, it just looks like white. But when you stand up close, you can see
or when the sunlight hits it.
You can see, you can see. It looks like one of those vampires that run around in daytime type thing, It sort of sparkles.
It sparkles.
Well, let's forget that movie.
Yes, please.
So actually looking at the model, and what I used was
can I just interrupt the vampire thing?
All right.
I'm reading this great book series where these aliens invade, and they go into this particular part of Romania and kill all the humans there, and Dracula's there, and he gets pissed off by this, and
okay.
Well, he's like a farmer who's had his sheep
Russell
slaughtered. Yeah.
It's actually quite a good book series, but it's just really funny.
Fair enough.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
Looking, the paint that the sparkly paint that I did use was the Guns GX metallic blue that's in like a special like blue, taller than average bottle, right?
Yep. Is that a lacquer paint?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's all right, but the sparkles are a size bigger than the stuff from say SMS, which is to be expected, right? I guess.
Yep.
Because it's not like they're just they're just like, oh, here's some sparkly paint. They're not like trying to make automotive sparkly paint, you know. But now that I've had a look at it, so when I bought that stuff, I also bought some SMS, metallic, one of the metallic blue type looking paints. And while I haven't shot it, you can see the sparkles in it, and you can see the sparkles in the Guns one, and you look at them and you're like, this is way over scale, in my opinion. If you can't see the sparkles on the real car until you get up close to it, why can I see it when it's sitting on a table? You know?
Yeah. It's the metallic flakes are just way too big for scale. You see, SMS has released a new paint line too.
Yes.
What is it?
For Australian trucking companies.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get Scott back on and have a chat about that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So sorry, Julian, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Sorry. So basically, like that's where I'm at. I mean, I've just sort of gotten closer and closer to the point where I'm like, yeah, maybe metallic paint doesn't belong on car models.
How'd you find you used 0 when you did your Porsche, didn't you?
Yes.
Or was that gravity?
0.
Yeah. How was the metallic flakes on the Guardsman Blue? I've got some Guardsman Blue.
Better than the gun stuff that I was using. But
yeah.
I mean, have you seen the car since?
I've only seen photos of it.
It looks better in person, I guess. It depends on the lighting.
Yep.
When I took it to the Waverley Interclub, they had in the Waverley Interclub the room where they had it. It had these sort of like fluorescent lighting, you know, where it's like bars of light that run all the way across the ceiling.
Yep.
And it's perfect for car molds because like you can see these as lines right across the glossy paint. And you go, oh, that one's glossy. Oh, that one totally needs to be worked on. You know, you could just like as soon as I put my 2 cars under it, I was able to look at it and go, oh yeah, the Porsche is actually perfect.
Had a good gloss, yeah.
And the other one, the green Galant, has a lot of flaws still. Mm-hmm. Not that I can do anything about it at this point.
Also, one thing a lot of people don't realise too is factory cars aren't like super, super glossy.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, I know that.
Factory painted cars.
I know that. But, one thing that I do pride myself on is getting very close to that level of gloss that is what you would expect on a car. But you can still sort of see it as like grain at the edges of those reflections of those white lines of light that, you know, you almost need, like if you want to check your work, if you're doing polishing work on car molds, you almost need to check your work with under like a bar fluorescent light or something similar so that you can actually troubleshoot your work and see what you're doing.
I understand what you mean, Hey, and Dave,
wow.
How's yours going along?
Geez, well, I haven't even started mine yet. And
there's lots of time.
Yeah, there is. I've got 2 other things I need to get out of the way. I'm building a ICBM, which I'll be taking up to Canberra with us. So that's just about finished. And I've got a Space 1999 moon lander thing to finish off. Because I've started that and I want to get that done. So there's a couple of other projects ahead of it. What else have I done? Been buying a few things. I just recently picked up a fantastic little 3D printed resin conversion kit for the Meng Leopard 1A3/A4. And this resin conversion kit is for the Australian version of the Leopard, and it covers a period from 98 to 2006. It's produced by a fantastic little Aussie company called Arms Corp Models. So just type in Arms Corp Models on Facebook, and I'll take you to the fantastic work he does there. And it just the print quality is absolutely awesome. And that's all stored away, ready for when I sort of break plastic on that particular kit. So it's good to see another little Aussie company sort of, punching well above their weight in regards to the stuff. And it's just going to show you how much 3D printing is just, I mean, listening to you earlier with your issues with your
the old
with your car,
old
the old
style
resin.
casting.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting to see whether we have any issues with 3D printing, 5-10 years down the track. I don't think we will if it's been cured and everything properly. But so anyway, that was pretty exciting. The other thing too, Julian and I went to the Waverley Interclub meet. Was it 2 Sundays ago? Yeah, it was
something like that.
Yeah. And of course, our club won.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah, but I mean, let's not overstate it. It's not like
it was very close.
It's like,
it was very close.
It's always close every year.
Yep. But it was really fantastic, and we had a huge turnout from the Whittlesea Area Plastic Modelers Club. And they turned up with they came loaded for beer. I think there's about 8 of them who rolled up.
And that's a fair drive for those guys.
Yeah, so a couple of real good guys in there who listen to the show. There's Frank and Paul, who I know listen to the show, and it was really fun because it's just, and as you guys know, you can have a lot of sledging while you're sort of doing it with the other clubs there on the day.
You were doing all of the sledging.
I was. So I walked over to one table. I said, "You don't need the instructions," and picked them up and walked away with them. Not that you needed instructions because the kit was fairly basic anyway. But
and what kit was that?
It was a Tamiya
Jeep.
Yeah, the SAS Jeep.
Oh, the Willys Jeep.
The Willys Jeep. Yeah.
Yep.
So just a lot of fun.
Quick build.
Great bunch of guys, and it's put on by the Waverley Scale Modelling Club, and we can't wait for next year. And
it's also changed name.
Yes, the actual award was known as the Bruce Hearn Trophy, and now it's going to be called the Bruce Hearn Memorial Trophy. That's called Bruce passed away.
Bruce Hearn Memorial Interclub.
Yep, and for those who aren't familiar with the Australian, particularly the Melbourne modelling scene, Bruce Hearn opened up Hearn's Hobbies, of course, all those many, many years ago.
Yep.
So he was always a great supporter of
next to
clubs
Flinders Street Station.
Yes, which is still ticking along now.
And they've got a second store, which is 5 minutes down the road from me.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
So that's pretty much my life in the last couple of weeks. So yeah.
So obviously, we all contributed to the win, but
Yes.
funnily enough, neither of my 2 cars were the best car of the day.
I know that surprised
Really?
me. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a old fashioned like Bugatti.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the like really old like open top thing that looks
In
like
the light blue.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was a red.
No, it's blue.
What was the red one I saw?
I'm
Been a
not sure.
Fiat or something.
I don't know.
If it's an open top, it probably would have been a Fiat or an early Ferrari.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the Bugatti at Model Expo earlier this year, so it wasn't an unfamiliar model. I've seen that one before. Yep.
Very nice one, nonetheless.
Not that I'm salty or anything.
No.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to see good models on the table.
Yeah, of
and
course,
if it can beat me, then it absolutely deserves it. Because no, I'm just joking.
And the only other thing, and we've got a report later on in listener mail from South Australia, but I was supposed to attend South Australia last week, the show over there. Unfortunately, a family issue popped up, which required me to be at home that weekend. So it was with a heavy heart and a great deal of angst that I was unable to attend, but I have heard it went off really well, and we do have some information about that later on, which we'll read out when we get to listener mail.
Sounds good.
It's a great show, though. It looked like it was people that had a lot of fun there.
Just before you scoot on to the next segment or something.
Yeah, sure.
I did buy a new kit.
Oh,
and
okay.
And I have started it. And
Let me guess, it's a car kit.
No.
Oh.
Not this time. I've actually got I'm amassing quite a stash of car kits, so I don't really need to buy any new ones, really. But you know, I'm always like one step away from like just grabbing something. So I bought an MAK kit.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, what'd you get?
So I bought the hang on.
Is that a 35th scale one where you can 3 kits in one?
No. But it's from that manufacturer. Hang on, let me.
Wave.
No, it's not Wave.
No,
Hasegawa.
So it's not Wave and it's not Hasegawa.
It's a new one.
It's not Nitto.
No.
So this is if you've seen on Lincoln Wright's page, he's been promoting this new.
Oh, the Grober Hunt 3-pack, whatever it is.
In 35th scale.
Ah.
Right. So they've got like a whole line of model kits. No, that's the wrong one, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, go on, Drew.
Call me.
So basically, what I bought is like this 4-legged, I don't know, spider-like walker kind of thing.
All right.
You brought it, and I thought, oh, that's nice. I want one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's not a cheap kit.
I
At
know,
least
it's
not
not.
where I got it from, because
No.
I wanted it ASAP, so I could start it ASAP, so I could...
So where'd you get it from?
I might have got it from Hobbyco or something like
And he
that.
might have paid $30 above what he should have paid.
Yeah, I might have.
Sometimes you got to spend the money.
It'd be even more... It's probably even more than that. A lot cheaper than that for... if I'd bought it online from Japan or something like that, because it was not cheap. But I needed it ASAP because I want to get it done for when we go up to ACT.
Yes.
Which is getting very close.
And because I know Lincoln will be there, and he's sort of making it a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, turning it into like a bit of a MAK festival.
Well, also, isn't he doing a workshop?
Yeah, yes, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I wanted to lend a hand, I guess, you know,
Oh, I've got an MAK I
in a
could throw
small
in.
way.
I
Well,
did
already
that.
built?
Yeah, I built that good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
One where I was outed on a Facebook forum as being a Nazi.
That's right, yes.
Yes, the last time I ever visited that before that Facebook page. Very prominent, but it was like, nah, you call me a Nazi, I'm out of here.
Oh, that was so funny, man.
Okay, so it is the 1/35th scale from the manufacturer's name is Kyoto.
All right, yep.
Yep, and it's the Sturm Kaffer.
Sturm Kaffer.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like strong coffee.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so there you go. It's that thing. Hang on.
He's going to put his glass. So basically, it's a 4-legged contraption that looks like something out of Thunderbirds.
It's very spider-like looking.
Yeah.
Oh, that does look really cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I immediately thought, yes, I can attempt the coconut crab scheme that I wanted to do on the last MAK subject on that, because it's the perfect subject
could be,
for it.
yeah.
So you have it built in time for the show?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ain't
At
got
the moment, like it's mostly like I primed and painted most of it, and but so it's an really interesting kit, really, really unusual.
You say it clicks together almost, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
But see, it's the plastic on it is really thick. It's almost like the Warhammer stuff. You know how they're somehow able to mold it while having it really thick without any kind of sink marks or anything.
Yes.
And it doesn't need any glue, right? But unlike a Bandai kit where you would have pins that go into cylinders, that's the sort of the snap together sort of part of it. You know, it's not like the old fashioned days of snap together where you actually had tabs with little clips on them, and they would all just sort of click.
Yeah, and if you're test fitting something and you didn't actually want it to join together, but you actually did, and that was like, oh, now I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know how like the old fashioned snap together kits,
Yeah.
you would have like these tabs that would go into slots.
Yes.
And then they go in and then they wouldn't come back out, and you might need to use like a screwdriver or something to poke on that to take it back out. And then you got like the Bandai style where you got like the cylinders, and then when you push them together, it's friction that holds them together rather than a clip. Well, this is different again. This is friction, but they're tabs, and they're really thick tabs, and they've got little tiny like two little I don't know, like a raised panel line on the tabs.
Ribs. That
ribs sort of acts as like a I don't know, like a crush washer kind of effect.
Yep.
And that's what holds it together. And you can pull them apart, but because the parts are so thick, thick plastic, they're really rigid. So the flexing required to get them apart is significant, but it's somehow smooth. It goes together very smoothly and comes apart very smoothly.
Very clever engineering. I'll tip my hat. Very clever engineering.
Like what sort of held me up a bit on this kit is like there's two halves of a cylinder type thing that's at the rear of it, and I put them together and I glued them together, and I wanted to erase the seam line because the parts went together almost perfectly. Like there was almost no seam line, but there was still a bit of a seam line there. I wanted to erase it, so I tried to erase it, and I thought oh, wait a second, it's got like two sort of like sunken bolt head type things, as if that's seam line's supposed to be seen. Mm-hmm. So I started scribing it apart again, did a bad job, and I thought, you know what, I'll putty it back up. So that's where I'm at with that part. But once I've got that part in, I'll be able to sort of get the sort of fuselage of it together, and then I'll be able to continue with the paint. Because it's actually, most of it's got actually its first coat of paint already.
Oh, very cool.
And then I'll be able to get the two other colours on, and then I'll start to brush paint the spots on it.
Get cracking. You've only got about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's coming along. Especially this weekend, I should be able to put some elbow into it.
Cool. Let's have a short break, and we'll be back very shortly.
Hey everyone, it's Chris at Inside the Armour Publications. I'd like to tell you about the new ebook we have available right now, Perfect Pits, the 2nd edition. This is the same book as Perfect Pits that we previously released in print. However, it's now available as an ebook from InsideTheArmour.com and includes new material for a 2nd edition. You can download this book along with any of our other ebooks on the ebook section of our site. In addition, I still have copies of Models from Ukraine Volume 2 if you'd like to help raise some money for a good cause and get a great modelling book full of fantastic artists like Calvin Tan, Paolo Portuese and many others. Please do go to the Supporting Ukraine page of the Inside the Armour site. All these books and more are available right now, including Tetra Model PE, Wingsy kits and a bunch of other great stuff at InsideTheArmour.com.
Okay, so coming up in November on the 11th and 12th, we have the 2023 Scale ACT Model Show, which is being held
Road trip
at Thoroughbred Park, 1 Randwick Road, Lyme in the ACT. If you want more information about that, go to ACT SMS, and it's got all the details there. They've just posted a video showing the new layout of the new show
and the new venue
at Thoroughbred Park, and it looks like an awesome site. And also, it's now open for entries, so dive in there and start
chucking entries in.
I've got to sit down and do that next week, I think.
Yeah, I think I might do that this week. I've only got 2 kits I can put in.
Yeah, great show. They've got competition and general display. All skill levels and ages are welcome. They've got some expert how-to workshops that are running on Saturday and Sunday, and we ran through that on our last show. Some really good sort of mates of ours who are going to be there. We've got Lincoln Wright who's going to be there, which is awesome. Good mate Clayton Huckabee's going to be there.
Yes.
So it's really excited to see him with his little workshop. Of course, Sam is another one that we know who's going to be there. They're all going to be very well attended. There's multiple vendors going to be on site. Of course, SMS Paints will be there as well. So pop over and say g'day to Scott. And also Horizon Scale Models is going to be there as well.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
So Tony from Horizon Models, which is going to be
Dave's going to be gushing like a schoolgirl.
Finally getting behind the microphone this time, I think. So, and in fact, Tony's got some news which we'll read out very shortly as well. Lots of food and parking on site, and there's a swap and sell, and it's just going to be a fantastic weekend. So please come along if you're in New South Wales or Victoria. Pop along, of course.
Even if you're in another state of Australia or overseas and you're in the area, pop on. It's worth going.
Absolutely. Don't even have to enter. Just come along and have a look.
Yeah.
And if you've never entered the show before, I'd strongly encourage you just to pop a model in, just to be part of the atmosphere and the hubbub. We'll be there with their show, of course, so we'll have mics there so you can pop past and have a bit of a yak with us.
Yep.
And, we can't wait. So we're doing a road trip up there on Friday the 10th.
Yes.
There's about 5 of us heading up there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be pretty exciting.
Yeah. A good trip.
It will. So, Scale ACT 2023. Can't wait. All right. The other stuff I had to mention too, as I sort of mentioned before, Tony wrote in from Horizon Models, and they're celebrating the 8th anniversary competition and scale. Horizon Models are excited. I said sale, did I?
No, you said scale.
Damn it. Horizon Models are excited. Sorry, Tony. I'll start again. Horizon Models are excited to announce their 8th anniversary competition and model kit sale. In appreciation to all scale modelers.
Space modelers.
In appreciation to all space modelers that have supported Horizon Models over the past 8 years, we are launching our 2023 Space Pioneers competition. Contestants just need to send us a photo and a short story of any Horizon model kit that they have built. One lucky winner will receive a trophy and certificate, one copy of their next release of the new Atlas Agena rocket, plus one copy of any other kit that they announce over the next 12 months. There will also be 3 runners-up, each of which will receive one copy of the next release of the Atlas Agena rocket. I can't wait for it to come out. Conditions apply. Please see our website, www.horizon-models.com, for terms and conditions. They're also having a sale on all of the individual kits with up to 20% off the recommended retail sales price if purchased through the website. The competition and the sale ends on October the 31st, 2023. So pop on over and have a look at that. That sounds really exciting. All right. Shall we see what...
yeah, let's go have a look at mailbag.
Mailbag, okay. Mailbag. And the first one comes in from Vic, who writes, "Hi, gents. Growing up in Pittsburgh, my accent drove the way I pronounce words like decals. I'd never heard of decals until I listened to modelling podcasts. Before the days of podcasting, you wouldn't hear the names of model companies unless you had a conversation or spoke and had a chat in a local hobby shop. Here are the top 10 pronunciations of modelling companies as overheard in my youth. Number 1, Tamiya.
Tamiya.
Which we call
Tamiya.
We call it Tamiya.
Yep.
Number 9, Rivali.
Rivali.
Number 8.
What do you mean, Revelli? It says eel at the end.
Yeah, Rivalil.
You know what?
Eduard.
You know what?
It's
hard enough for Dave to read out words
I'm
he's
going to read
familiar
them out
with.
for him.
All right, okay.
Haysi.
What number?
Oh, up to number 6 now. So it's Haysi Ewa.
Haysigawa
Yes. S Ward.
for number 5.
Yes, number 4. E.I.T. Larry.
T. Larry. Larry.
Yes. Number 3, well, Hella. We all know Hella.
Yeah.
Number 2, Mano G-Ram.
Monogram.
Yes. And number 1 for company mispronunciation is F.U. Jimmy.
Okay, so I get the itinerary.
I.T. Larry.
Yeah, because it's the way
It's a Larry.
Yeah, it's like the way George W. Bush pronounces Iran instead of Iran or Iraq. It's Iran. It's Iraq.
Yeah.
I get that now. Yeah.
Yes.
I've made the connection because it's hard to like read what these. How these are written in this email and sort of connect it to
Yes.
to how you think it's supposed to be pronounced.
So as he says, if you hear Jimmy had a model competition, don't take it personally. Good on you, Vic. That's good.
You're not supposed to read it as F.U. Jimmy. You're supposed to read it as Few Jimmy.
Few Jimmy. Few Jimmy.
Yes.
Very amusing. David Waples, our good mate, writes in, this is one that may have slipped past the Falcon, just in case. Here is the soon-to-be-released Gerald R. Ford full hull kit from Magic Factory. Even in 1/700 scale, this will take up a good chunk of real estate. It'll be interesting to see what this kit looks like in the flesh. Based on their recent Corsair, it shows great promise.
Isn't that maybe one of the biggest carriers in the world now?
I think it is, but even in 1/700 scale, I beg your pardon, it's going to be 48.1 centimetres long.
That's a big...
That's a big kit. It's half a metre.
Yeah. But I look at the side profile of it. It looks like it can do wheel stands. Because the island's so far back. It's like a dragster. It's a top fuel aircraft carrier.
That is so far back, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right back near the stern.
Like, how are you supposed to see
well, it's pretty high up. I think they're going for the Japanese pagoda
Look,
style with the island.
It doesn't
It keeps going up and up.
Having the island so far back allows more.
It's like
better
an oil
use of
tanker.
it allows better use of the space on the deck. So
Yes,
that's one of the main reasons why they put
it's
it
a
back
pretty
so far.
wide deck too.
Yeah, it's
Got a huge footprint, that thing.
Oh, it does. So yeah, that looks like interesting kit. So Magic Factory, go and check it out. Thanks for that, David. Really appreciate.
Would that be
you.
resin or
No, plastic.
Plastic.
plastic?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Well, technically, resin's plastic as well. You mean is it going to be styrene? Is what you should be asking.
Yes,
Well,
just to be technical.
Well-
Just to be technical.
yeah. Well, I wasn't necessarily. Yeah. Okay, that. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't resin, because that'd be a lot of resin. 50 centimeters worth of resin. Come on, man, that's huge.
El Presidente, Timothy Holland writes in, G'day Benches. He's saying the Lockheed D-21 drone used by the SR-71 was to extend the reconnaissance range without risking the aircrew. Don't think it did very well, but maybe it did. And he's saying in 72nd scale, he's heard an awful lot of new releases in many different genres, and you don't hear that kind of range in other scales. He's just saying because he's a big
72nd scale man. Yes, he is. Tim is. Yes.
and of course, we had him on a couple of episodes ago. His club has the annual group build, and which they take to regional shows, and the monthly we do a theme where you try to build a kit that sort of aligns. I think less than half the modelers participate, but some years they really get wound up. This year they had 55 1/72nd scale models of Japanese World War II aircraft in their annual group build. The theme was not another Japanese Zero, which was any World War II aircraft and Japanese markings that was not a Zero. All the 5 geeks are participated as well. And of course, they're they're all members of that same modelling club. And a fun time was had, but hauling all those kits to Nats was a real pain. And Darren and I nearly had heart attacks on the rough roads in Tennessee and the speeds in Texas. So that's regards from Tim.
And speaking of Japanese aircraft, I don't know if I mentioned this last episode, but so they've recently uncovered a haul that no one realised existed of 4 F1M Peats
No,
that
whereabouts
have been
were they
in
discovered?
storage since World War II.
No, whereabouts were they?
I'm not too sure where, but they've posted a few shots online, and yeah, these things have basically just been taken off the beach at the end of the war and put into storage. And they got 4 complete fuselages. I'm not sure about the wings and that, but yeah, they look.
Like in a cave somewhere? It was done by the Japanese or done by the Allies?
I would say so I would say someone on the island where it was, or has stored them, has taken them. I think they may have even been taken off the island.
Okay.
But they actually had a photo I saw a couple of days ago where they actually had them out in the sunlight, all 4 fuselages next to each other, and they look fine.
Wow, that's
they,
interesting.
They look fine, and like no one knew there was any Peats left in the world, except for a small handful of people that knew about this.
Oh no! Now everyone will be able to tell. We'll be able to point the finger at
Has he go?
Hasegawa.
And go, oh, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right.
Yeah. Charles Rice writes in, "Hey guys, I want to thank you for the stickers that you sent me. I've never received anything from over there. I enjoy the heck out of the show and appreciate the hard work you guys put into it. Currently, I'm only up to episode 103, and I figure if I catch up too quickly, that'll have withdrawals from waiting for a new episode to drop. On a side note, I know how much you and Ian love ships, so I'll throw this at you. In Kingston, North Carolina, there is a 1-to-1 replica of the American Civil War Confederate ironclad. The ship is called the CSS Neuse.
And I've seen a documentary on that. And if I remember back in the States and in that part of the woods, I'm definitely going to, because I love American Civil War ironclads and their ships.
Yeah. They've built an authentic interior that can go in as well. There's also an interpretive museum where they mostly
with the mostly intact
hull of the original ship as well. So thanks, guys. It's Charles from South Carolina. You know, the only Carolina that actually matters.
Yes.
I'm going to step away from that one.
But I remember watching the documentary on YouTube on the news, and I thought, oh, that is so cool.
Very good. Nimrod77 writes in, boys, I am very bad at completing group builds, so I tend to shy away from them unless they really tickle my fancy or happen to line up with something that I'm building anyway. That said, after Ian's suggestion of doing a sci-fi bike, like the Tron bike, really got me excited. I'd be super keen to hear if that kit actually existed, or that the bike from Akira is around as well, because he loves that bike as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking bike. I remember watching something, some guy in Japan actually built one.
Yeah.
An Akira motorcycle.
There's been a few people who have tried it.
Look, and I tell you what, on the road it looks pretty freaking mean.
Is there a model available of it, do you know?
No, there's
or the Tron bike?
There's no plastic models. But I
reckon there's some garage company that probably does do the Tron bike.
No, I don't believe so. I think that there is a you can 3D print one.
I was going to say there'd be an STL file somewhere.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think I've seen some really good quality ones at that.
Because I reckon the Tron bike would be pretty cool.
The only problem with a 3D printed one is that it's got that big it's got quite a lot of glazing at the top.
Yeah, are we talking remake or original Tron bike?
Sorry, not the Tron bike. I mean the
Akira bike.
The Akira bike. Yeah, and that one. So the glazing, I don't know how you would do that necessarily. You'd have to be, I don't know, making a buck, and then doing some. What do you call it?
Vac forming.
Vac forming, maybe. Yeah, because it's a bit of a curved deal. Yeah.
Don't know. Anyway, Nathan says he's going to be at Scale OCT, so
awesome.
he'll see us there. So
we're looking forward to it, Nathan.
Cool. Some news from our good mate Kevin from KLP Publishing.
Kevin Footer.
Hi, Dave, Ian and Julian. Just wanted to let you know that we've just released our latest ebook title at KLP Publishing, Building the British Phantoms, Volume 3.
Whoa.
It's going to be for the FJ UK one, which is an RAF service. And it's a 390-page ebook. Jeff Coughlin completes the Building of British Phantom series with a detailed look at the F4J in RAF service. The book features chapters on the F4J's inception and key features, along with 9 model builds, 3 colour profiles, a cockpit walk-around, and a forward by Group Captain Dick Northcote, OBE, BA, RAF retired. And all this and more for a measly $20 Australian, which is almost like pesos now compared to the euro and the pound and the US dollar.
I got a book I downloaded the book from the other day. I was one of the, was it the Hawker Heart or something like that?
Oh, yes.
That's a magic book. I love those big scale scratch builds.
Absolutely. So go check it out, www.klp.com.au.
Yep. Great books. Yeah, can't recommend them enough.
Yep, really good. Okay. Ryan Hothersall writes in, and this is the feedback from 2023 South Australian Scale Model Expo. He said, unfortunately, the OTB crew couldn't make it, as I was looking forward to putting a face to the voices that I hear on the podcast. Yeah, I'm gutted, mate, that I couldn't have been there as well. I had various Ukraine aircraft there on display. Unfortunately, a couple of things got broke.
Oh, no.
Thanks to the poorly maintained Adelaide roads.
Well, something to know in future.
Geez, dude, you
Lots of packaging.
You were driving Victorian roads at the moment. Julian just hit a pothole yesterday, didn't you?
Yes. Now my car's got an oscillation, a vibration in it. I'm not happy.
No.
And he sent some photos. So thanks for that.
Yeah, awesome
Ryan.
photos.
And we again, Ian and Julian weren't going to go anyway. But
since I've started a new job, I couldn't get the time off.
But we'll have to see how we go next year. So the expo director actually wrote him and said, hi, Dave and Julian. The South Australian Expo model has wrapped up. It was a pity that you guys couldn't make it over the recent year. Our signature 40th event was held at a new premises, which is the Prince Alfred College, just in the outskirts of the CBD. And the change to a more central location was certainly welcomed by entrants and the public. The new venue is very spacious and had a much better lighting and more airy feel. And certainly the traders were less cramped and more comfortable. They had 513 models on display, of which 293 were entered for judging. As expected, this was down from the last couple of years with the COVID hangover now receding, coupled with an indication from traders that money is tighter at the moment. Nevertheless, the quality entries maintained a high level and gave the judges a few headaches with split decisions over 42 categories. We've seen a growth in car categories over the past couple of years, and the new category, custom cars, has been very popular. The new HQ holdings from DDA were well represented, and we suspect more on the table than are currently driving around in Adelaide. The science fiction categories have grown too, and we now have 5 categories for figures and vehicles to cover the plethora of entries, which is fantastic. I'm glad to see that there's these modelling shows responding to the increased interest in different categories. Also, he says this year they had a number of female modellers enter the competition, which is great to see. And this has been an area that the club has been working on encouraging in addition to juniors. So it's pleasing to see an uptick in interest. And the Best Female Modeller Award went to the first-time entrant.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, that's fantastic. Best in Show is won by Scott Kilford for his very detailed Ferrari engine. And Scott has been a regular winner both here and in Melbourne in the past with his high-quality motorbikes. Yes, I've seen his work.
Yeah, it's freaking amazing.
It is stunning. And also thanks to the traders who attended the show, which was SMS Paints, Firestorm Hobbies, RW Hobbies and Burfit Tools, and support to the local traders there, Somerset Models, Model World, AB&S Enterprises, Model Matters, Avonmore Books. They're fantastic.
I've spent so much money with that. I mean, so much money I've spent there.
And there was a new trader there called 3D Models and Terrain.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. And the sponsors of the show were AeroWorks, Military Hobbies, Hobby Habit, Spec Models, Canberra Hobby Centre, Outlaw Paints, Hobbies Australia, Southern Modeller Supplies, and Super Cheap Hobbies. Photos have been uploaded to the Facebook page, so we'll pop along there and have a look. And thanks to everybody who helped make 2023 a fantastic show, and hopefully you're able to make it over next year. That's Keith.
Fingers crossed.
From who's Expo Director. Thanks very much, Keith, for that detailed report. And as I said, we'll try our best to get there next year.
That's right.
Rightio. Our good mate Tim Cavalier writes in, "Hi Benchers, a question for Ian, shipbuilder extraordinaire.
Fair enough.
I started working on my first ship, the Trumpeter USS North Carolina,
yep.
in 1/700 scale. It's a battleship I visited several times as a kid while visiting relatives in North Carolina. I'm doing a full hull and I've attached the deck to the upper hull. I'm now stuck trying to figure out the best way to tackle the painting and camo and attaching the superstructure and the fiddly bits. Is there a preferred sequence for shipbuilding? What does the master suggest?"
I'm not a master.
It has been suggested by some in my club to paint the sides of the hull camo and attach the superstructure and all the stores, painting them by hand. The final part to attach all the little bits like guns, etc. last. That's from Tim in Moscow, Idaho. What do you reckon, Ian?
Well, the way I'd tackle it is I'd paint the hull first and the deck, carefully masking, because I just spend ages. I think when I did that, was it not New Jersey? What's the one we saw in Pearl Harbor? The big battleship, the Iowa class, Missouri.
Yeah.
I did the Missouri for my neighbour, and that took 2 days of masking just the deck. But yeah, I tend to airbrush and mask everything, and even if that means I'm going to have to glue, and then when I put it all together, everything's painted anyway.
Here's the way I would do it, and the way I have done it in past. So if you've got a camouflage pattern on the hull that matches the superstructure, I'll paint the hull with the camouflage on. Mm-hmm. I'll build the superstructure separate.
Yep.
Then I'll put the superstructure, but not glue it onto the model.
Yep.
Put it on the model,
so you
and then trace with a pencil where the camouflage goes, and take it off the model. Tape up the bits so I don't, obviously, for the camouflage pattern, and then spray that separately. Then put it back on the ship.
Yep. That's exactly how I do it. Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah. And that way you don't have to worry. I mean, you can paint the deck and without having to get muck everywhere.
Yeah, that way you're only masking up like the ammo boxes and so forth, cap stands and so forth that are already on there.
And then with things like railing,
I've known some people to actually glue them in position before they paint.
Yeah,
now that to me is a scary thought.
Yeah, I'll actually spray paint the PE railing first.
Yep, and then glue it in place.
And then go back and do touch ups on the bit where they've got glue marks or any bits flaked off.
Exactly.
So,
and you can remove super glue. You just need some super glue remover anyway.
Go on, Julian.
Yeah, 2 days masking.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a hell of a job.
I don't like doing that sort of thing.
Oh, it wasn't. Look, I'll tell you what, it wasn't the most enjoyable part of the build, but it paid off in the end.
Well, I mean, what I mean is I prefer to, if I'm not painting it on the same day that I'm masking it, then I try not to do that. Because I don't, I've often found that if you put down masking, it'll lift a bit without you realising between then and when you paint, if you don't do it on the same day.
Oh, right. Yeah, I found that.
And then you
you
pull your masking away, it's gotten underneath it somehow.
Look, I know, yeah, cause especially the, what do you call that big curved splash guard you have usually on the front of the ships.
Yep.
Just usually sits before the front turret. Don't ask me the technical name for it, I don't know. But you've always got like the strengthening bars that come down off it. Well, when I did the battleship for my neighbour, I had to mask in between each one of them. And then before I painted it, I went over the whole deck with a toothpick and just pushed everything down because it had, as Julian said, it had lifted slightly.
Yep.
So if as long as you don't forget about it and start painting, and then you're going to get the paint going underneath it, you just got to make sure you go over the whole thing very carefully and make sure all your little bits of masking tape are
But
pressed
to me,
onto place.
doing masking is a very zen thing. It's like doing
it can be a zen
It's
thing,
like doing individual links. You just sit there and put a podcast on or put a music album on and just off you go. It's awesome. Love it.
See, it's the part I hate the most about car models.
Well, okay.
But I've got the North Carolina, but I got it in 350 scale.
I should also mention, and thanks for writing in, Tim. Really appreciate that. But Tim's also got a little blog post there called "Model Musings from a Cavalier Cat."
Cool.
So just type in the word, all with no spaces, "Model Musings from a cavaliercat.com." Sorry, I beg your pardon. .wordpress.com, and it's great to see that Tom's actually back writing again because he had a bit of a hiatus there.
Yeah, he did too. Yeah,
So,
I always like reading his blog.
Yeah, I did too. I think the problem was that there were too many sort of new podcasts for him to catch up to, and he couldn't keep up with it. Oh, jeez. Radio. Hi guys, I just wanted to share.
Who's this from?
Oh, let me scroll down. Actually, you've got some big pictures in there that I can't.
Photos.
What's
Big
happening
photos.
with my
computer's gone crazy?
No. It's just ridiculously large photos. I'm not sure why it's formatted like that.
I'm sure of that. Hi guys, just wanted to share my latest finished build with you. This is from Alan Hughes. My latest build with you. It's a 1/35th scale Def Models US Army driver at rest figure. The figure is displayed in a temporary scene to demonstrate the potential and options for inclusion in a diorama and vignettes. And love the show. Always look forward to the next podcast. Keep up the great work. That's from Alan Hughes in Dublin, Ireland.
Lovely.
And don't forget, you can actually post these pictures to On Your Bench, our Facebook page for all of their listeners to dive in. So just do a search for
stunning builds going on that at the moment.
So just post On Your Bench, and you can post it there, and it's really interesting and cool.
Yeah. Nice looking figure too.
Rightio, that brings us to the end of mailbag. I think we might have another very quick break, and then we'll see what's new. The Falcon has to say. So we'll be back very, very shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. Okay, I'm going to have a look at what the Falcon's got to say, but before we do, I've got a quick note on something that I came across on one of my models recently.
Oh, really?
I've got some of those Gundam markers.
Oh, no.
And
I can see where this is going.
So remember once upon a time when I sort of first got back into the hobby, I got a...
what you mean, the Sharpie incident?
I used the Sharpie incident, yes, to sort of do the panel lines.
Yes.
And it sort of kept bleeding through.
Yes, as they do.
Well, I'm here to tell you that the Gundam markers do exactly the same.
Of course they would. Of course they would. It's the same sort of application.
What I don't understand is why you would doodle on your model and then paint over the top.
I know. And I've got, you know what? I've got a mule sitting there, and I didn't even think to sort of just test it out before.
Yeah, you should have, yeah.
'Cause I'm doing a rocket at the moment, and I thought I wanted really sharp, lines underneath it.
Well, I think the only way of really fixing that is to undercoat it black.
Well, I've fixed it now. I've fixed it.
No, undercoating doesn't change anything.
Well, even if you undercoat it black.
Yeah. So if you write with a Sharpie on a model and then you put black primer over the top, it will still come through.
Oh.
Well, I did manage to fix it by a very judicious use of sandpaper, so I'll fix it that way.
Yeah. You have to. It's hardware removal.
Yes.
Yeah, but
lesson learnt, Dave.
Yeah, lesson learnt there. So.
But I mean, like I've in the past, I haven't really done it recently, but I would test seam lines with a marker of some description. It doesn't really matter which, but I'm going to sand it off anyway, or wipe it away with alcohol.
Yep. I used to just use black paint.
Just as long as it's physically not there, right, before you start putting paint down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anywho, let's see what the Falcon's got to say.
Yeah.
Hi there. After last episode's adventures and pronunciation, I would like to begin with a disclaimer, says the Falcon. Any relationship between what is written here and what comes out of Dave's mouth is purely coincidental. On to aircraft news. Mini-Art have let us in to what we can expect from advanced kit boxing of their still-to-be-released 48 scale Republic P-47D 26RE. There will be a different set of wings with fully detailed gun bays. The engine and accessory bays get a lot of attention. There are photo-etched wing wiring harnesses. The cooling gills have photo-etched actuating arms, and many other detail parts provided as photo-etch, including the grills. And to show off all this extra detail, the cowl panels are separate parts and can be attached or left off in whatever configuration you desire.
Ooh.
Naturally enough, the cockpit gets some attention, with PE parts, for the pilot's harness, gun sight, and the area behind the instrument panel. 3 types of wheel hubs are provided: plain, 6-spoke, and 8-spoke. There are 2 types of tyre treads, regular and cross pattern, and control surfaces and flaps are all positionable. Plenty of things to hang between the wings, or beneath the wings as well. There's going to be a 200-gallon flat and 150-gallon P-38 style drop tanks. There's going to be 50, 100, 250 and 500-pound bombs whose fins are provided as PE parts. And there will be 3 marking options, one of which is going to be Gabby Grabeski? Is it Grabeski?
Yeah, Grabeski.
Gabby Grabeski's aircraft.
Oh,
so that's really interesting.
That's going to be a nice kit.
IBG models will soon release another boxing of their 72nd scale PZL fighter, the PZL P-24B in Bulgarian service. Following in 2024, there will be a PZL P-24E in Romanian service.
Yeah.
At the recent All Japan Hobby Show, Hobby Boss displayed a test shot of their forthcoming 48 scale consolidated B-24J heavy bomber. Luckily, it appears it is not a straight down scaling of their 32nd scale kit.
Good to hear.
As the problems with the wing incidence and airfoil shape have not been replicated, it seems. At the same show, Hobby Boss displayed a built-up test shot of their new 48 scale MiG-35 Fulcrum F, which should be available before this year is out. Academy have shown test shots for 72nd scale kit of the Korean Aerospace Industries KIA KF-21 Barami, which is the name Younghawk in Korean. It's a low-cost, low-observability prototype. The kit is likely to be snap-fit type, and the first boxings will have stickers instead of decals. Ugh. The kit will come with a stand. It can be built wheels down or in flight, which will please one of our listeners. And they have neglected to provide the pilot figure, and I can see a problem with the in-flight option, says the Falcon. At the All Japan Hobby Show, Tamiya premiered both their newish 48 scale aircraft kits. The F-35B looked very nice, as you would expect from a new tool Tamiya kit. And the Grumman FM1/Martlet Mark V was mostly the old F4 kit. Apart from decals, the only differences being a new pilot figure and a modification to the original wing parts. Apparently you could clearly see where the old wings have been modified to erase the outer gun bays. There is no new fuselage either, as the FM1 had the original short fin and rudder, so not an awful lot of new here. HK Models will be releasing a second 32nd scale A20 kit. This is going to be the Douglas A20J/K Havoc. This time round, it is the later glass nose version. Box art and CAD renders look very nice. No info or markings at this time. Also announced for 2022 is Micromir's 72nd scale Saab Draken, which looks close to release. They have shown a full set of sprues, and people are liking what they see. Clearly more detail than the old Hasegawa kit, and the sprues are showing full intake ducting. The shape also seems better, so it's a significant improvement over the older kit. AMP have just shown sprues, PE and decals and boxing for their 48 scale Supermarine S6B Schneider Trophy Cup winner. From what can be seen, it looks like a nice package. Of interest, most of the parts on the PE sheet are the rigging wires. That's interesting.
I think they're flat wires anyway, so you can get away with it.
Oh, really? Excuse me. Special Hobby are finally about to release... Oh, I beg your pardon. Also, there will be a 72nd scale version of the S6B from AMP also coming out soon. Special Hobby are about to release their 32nd scale Hawker Typhoon Mark I, the Cardor version. Last mention of this release was back in 2017, so you could be forgiven for thinking it was never going to be released. I suggest you hurry up and get your old Revell Typhoon listed on eBay before everyone else finds out. Border Models have announced a set of figures to populate their 35th scale aircraft carrier, a Cargi Island and Flight Deck playset. IGM Pilots and Officers set contains 8 figures. They aren't all pilots and officers, though I noticed a couple of deck crew were in that particular mix. Not model aeroplane exactly related, but it's been a long wait for the Hank Spielberg follow-up to Band of Brothers and the Pacific Masters of the Air, which has finally got confirmed release date. It will be available from January the 26th, 2024 on Apple TV. Woohoo!
Yep, looking forward to that one.
So I guess you will now have to sign up to yet another streaming service. You can always tell your wife it's to watch Ted Lasso.
Who's Ted Lasso?
What?
That's a series on Apple.
Oh, is it?
What rock have you been under?
I don't watch TV.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Civilian vehicles. DDA Models have shown an early test shot of their 24th scale Ford Falcon XY GTHO.
Woohoo!
I have seen at least 4 box settings being listed.
Boxings.
Yep.
The Falcon XW GTHO Phase 2 Slammed Custom. The Falcon XY GTHO Phase 2.
Nice.
The Falcon
Phase 3?
XY Phase 3.
That's the XY, yep.
And
actually, that second one should be Falcon XW GTHO Phase 2.
Well, there you go. And the last one, the Falcon XY GTHO Phase 3 Supercharged.
I'll be going for one of each of the original factory ones.
And I think that this is just the beginning.
It is, because they're also bringing out the LH Tirana, I think, around the same time. And from rumours are we may see them around Christmas time.
Science fiction. This took me. Was taking pretty much Facebook by
me
storm.
too, yeah.
Being modelled to announce 3 kits of machines from the recent Dune movie. There's the Dune Spice Harvester, the Atreides Ornithopter, and also the Harkonnen Ornithopter. No scale gets mentioned, but the kits are fairly small. The Harvester is going to be in size in millimetres around 100 by 65 millimetres, and the Ornithopters have a span of 169 millimetres and a length of 95 millimetres. The Ornithopter wings and undercarriage can be folded after assembly. All 3 kits will be released in October 23.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I reckon it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I don't think I'll get the Spice Harvester, but certainly the Ornithopters, possibly
the
something
Harvester
like that.
it sounds like it's about 72nd scale or something, doesn't it?
No, God,
those
no.
harvesters were huge.
Oh.
It'd be like 1/100th scale. I'd suggest
something like that. Yeah. So I don't know if they've got interiors in the Ornithopters too.
I don't know. It's hard to tell from the pictures, so we'll have to see. Maybe the modelling news will have an announcement on it.
Yeah.
So
You'd be hoping they bring them out in like 72nd or 48 scale. It'd be
48 scale would be awesome. Wouldn't it?
It'd be a big kit, but geez, the detail you're going to
Oh,
throw
it
in.
wouldn't be a big kit. I mean, you look at how big.
Yeah, because they're all wing.
It's about the size of a Jet Ranger helicopter. So 48 scale would be a great scale for it.
It says Ornithop 170 millimeters. That is the footprint of a 48 scale aircraft, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think in that scale it would be like 1/72nd at the largest, but probably more like 144.
Military vehicles. Trumpeter have a couple of kits about to be released. A 72nd scale Leopard 2A6 EX main battle tank and a 35th scale Russian Object 490A tank. Hobby Boss are soon to release a 35th scale kit of the Russian BMD-2. IBG models will be releasing another boxing of their 35th scale Panzer II OSFB, lowercase b. It's important to say because the German light tank with a fuel trailer. For Hobby and For Art, or whatever they call themselves these days, is about to issue a 72nd scale kit of the M142 HIMARS. Will it come with Ukraine decals? I can't stand the suspense, says the Falcon. And, of course, Australian Army's bought the HIMARS as well.
Yes.
So I'm waiting for it to come out. I'll get one in 35th scale. Awesome. ICM say their release is imminent for the 72nd scale ATZ 5-43203 fuel Bowser for the armed forces of Ukraine. Just wondering, is this kit related to the Musaru Cup kit? Question mark. How's the Musaru Cup going, Julian?
It didn't start
Well,
yet.
I'm glad you asked because I haven't touched it since I last mentioned it. I've got some time and I need to get this other thing done.
Yep.
Oh, fair enough. Rifle models have announced a 35th scale M4A3 76W HVSS early type Thunderbolt 7. That's a type of Sherman tank, if anybody was wondering. Gecko models, brazenly stealing Tacom's method of announcing new kits, showed a silhouette of the subject of their new 35th scale kit. I thought, obviously, that's an Ontos, but no. God, Ontos, I hate Ontoses. People tell me it's an SRN-5 patrol air cushion vehicle.
Which is a hovercraft.
It'll be pretty big in 35th scale, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the price will be commensurate with the size. I reckon it's really brave of them to sort of releasing a kit like that.
Yeah.
I think it's quite exciting, actually. AFV Club's M107 175mm self-propelled gun arrives in mid-October, and again, this will be another pricey
Well,
kit.
it's going to be a big kit, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be. Many have shown CAD renders for their new kit in their line of T34/85s. This will be a T34/85 model, 1945, Plant 112 with interior kit. As usual, Mini Art have been very good at capturing the nuances of T35 production. This model has all the features seen on the 1945 factory 112 vehicles. Plus, the interior is very complete, from the driver's position right through the fighting compartment and turret into the engine bay and finishing with the transmission. Another incredible accomplished effort from Mini Arts. I seldom mention aftermarket products, but I saw that ResiCast have just announced the full interior set for Tamiya's 135th scale A34 Comet. It's extremely comprehensive and completely replaces the turret. That's interesting. What is surprising is that ResiCast are still releasing new items, even though they have announced they are closing up shop at the end of the year. That's dedication for you.
It sure is.
Either that, or I'd suggest possibly they've got a buyer in line.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Max Factory will release a kit of a German World War II Tiger 1 tank.
Wow.
Not another Tiger kit, you say? Well, this one's a bit different in that it's 1/12 scale.
It'd be huge.
The majority of the parts are injected plastic with some external equipment being made from resin. Lower hull parts will require the use of ABS cement. It's 70 centimetres long kit, and it comes with workable track links, and it will cost you 51,000 yen, which is about, I think if you drop the zero, it's about $500 Australian.
Yeah.
Yes, so $341 US and about 540 Australian, says the Falcon. We have learned a little more about Das Works 35th scale 88 millimeter flak flak 9-ton VOMAG. The 8.8 centimeter gun is all new, not borrowed from another manufacturer. There is a full interior, including the engine. The ammunition racks can be built open or closed, and there will be 4 marking options, 3 overall grey and 1 in dark sand with green and brown mottle. Das Work have shown a partially completed test shot, and what immediately stands out is how long this thing is. If you buy one of these kits, make sure you have plenty of space on the bench. That's all from now from the Falcon.
Fantastic. I'm so keen on these Falcons coming out from DDA.
Oh, the Falcons, not the Falcon.
Yeah, from the
well, you are a Ford man, let's admit it.
Well, I drive a Ford, but I do like Mopars, and I do like some GM products as well.
Well,
GM products.
Well, there's so many to choose from.
I guess so.
So have you guys got any news at all?
No, he stole my news. I was going to mention the GDA ones.
No news. I forgot to mention that I did purchase some new aftermarket from a company that you can't really buy from unless you live inside Japan or know someone.
Oh, yeah? What'd you get?
And they basically do some aftermarket stuff for cars. One of which is they do a 3D print of all the little fins and grills and things for the Lamborghini Miura, which takes a lot of the hassle out of building that kit.
Yep.
I also bought some various wheels for different other car kits from them. So in the future, I plan to do at least 2 Tamiya Datsun 240Z kits, or Z if you're American. Z, they say Z instead of Z, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, so I'll actually want to do one with the duckbill, the G nose, with that extra pointy bit on the front of the car.
Cool.
I actually saw one that I liked the other day. It was beautiful.
And Mini Art, they're releasing a 2-figure set in 1/35 scale, butchers.
As in, like...
Butchers with bits of meat.
Oh, okay, cool. What, modern day or old timey?
Going off the images, be old timey, like in the 40s. I know. Did we mention SMS's new paint range?
No, we haven't yet.
Yes, they're bringing out 3 new paint ranges for Australian trucking companies.
Fantastic.
Membries being one of them. I can't remember the other 2, but for the truck builders out there, they're going to be absolutely wrapped.
Scott's not sitting on his laurels, is he?
Oh no, not at all.
Pairing along.
Not at all. Trying to think what else is new that I've been seeing online too. Where are we? It looks like new release from Starling Models. They're doing a couple of 1/700 scale ton class minesweepers.
Oh, okay. What scale?
1/700.
Okay. They're always just chuffing along quietly in the background, aren't they?
And they just bring out some really nice
Yeah.
products, and some of the products you don't think of. And it's
Yeah.
like, all of a sudden it's there on the market. It's like, that's really quite a cool idea. I know there's a few World War I subjects coming out from some of the smaller 3D print companies.
Yep.
But I just can't seem to find them on my phone at the moment.
So I'll just quickly finish.
Me being prepared.
I did look up the name of the company that operates out of Japan, and they do these 3D prints of wheels and other bits and pieces for various car models. One of the important one of which is the one for the Lamborghini Miura that does all the little different types of hood grills and the grills that go around behind the window, on the doors. So the name of the company is called Plus Alpha with an F, not with a PH.
Right.
All right. Yep.
Yep. And they operate out of a site. Like they sell, you can buy their. Well, if you're in Japan, I believe you can buy their stuff from a company called from a website called kidbox.co.jp.
How did you manage to get hold of it then?
Well, I saw
Julian's determined.
I saw it somewhere on the internet, and then looked it up, and then I jumped on Discord and messaged my friend who lives in Japan and said, I want you to buy all this crap for me.
So they won't do it direct.
And he said, sure, that'll be about $140 Australian. And I was like, okay.
So that you can't get it if you're outside of Japan?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
That's a shame, isn't it?
And let me tell you, like, Japanese websites do not inspire confidence. They look like something out of 1998.
Yeah, I know. They're just, so far behind in some of this stuff, man. Anyway.
It's a weird thing.
It is. Hey, listen, we've got a great interview coming up with Scott from PaintRack, and I'm really excited to see what Scott... It's a fantastic app which I've used for many, many years now, so I'm really interested to hear the story behind it. So let's go and hook up with Scott right now.
The Models from Ukraine podcast brings you all the latest news and views from the model manufacturers of Ukraine and the modelers that support them. With interviews including Mini Arts, ICM, Armory Models, ResKit, Dora Wings, Ace Model and many more, you can find out what some of the best model companies in the world are doing and how you can help them and Ukraine. Check out the Models from Ukraine podcast on your podcast app of choice or at modelsfromukraine.buzzsprout.com.
I don't know about you guys, but it's something that's always sort of caused me sort of issues and everything is whenever I go to a hobby store or something like that, I think, I'll grab some more paint and everything. And the amount of times I've forgotten to get the paint that I want or I've double up on it, and going back 3 or 4 years. I mean, I know there's various things out there that, can help you do that. But I finally came across an app which met my needs. And I'm really excited to be able to say that we've got the guy who actually developed this app, which is called PaintRack, on the line with us. And it's Scott from Austin, Texas. Is that correct, Scott?
That's correct. And then the other developer is Jeff Lovelace, and he's currently living in D.C. here in the U.S. as well.
Fantastic. Scott, so let's start with your background. So tell us about your journey as a modeler, where you came from and what you do and all the rest of it.
Gosh, so, I mean, like most people, this was back in, I would say, 85, 86. I was playing tabletop games, mostly, got really involved in Warhammer back during the Rogue Trader days, during the initial release. And I was just drawn to the art and the design of Space Marines. And right about that time, they redesigned like Eldar. And I was just kind of drawn to the hobby because, it was this physicality of collecting models and assembling models. And then there was the painting aspect. And so I got my first Citadel basic paint set, way back when.
Yeah.
And I remember those. There was like a little rectangular box with the demon painting the model. That was my first basic paint set. I think I bought some Space Marines at the time. And I started painting way back then. And ironically, the reason I think I became a fairly proficient painter is because models were expensive.
Yes.
And I couldn't afford it as a teenager. So I was spending meticulous time simply just painting my models because they were so pricey, and I couldn't see myself spending, well, at the time it was cheap, right? It was like 5 Eldar for $8 lead. And, I couldn't see myself like just painting them quickly and putting them on the field because they were just, they were too expensive. So I would meticulously spend my time, painting the models because I just wanted to just enjoy painting the model and not waste the lead, more or less. And I really got big into it back then, just back in high school. Even back in high school, I had a lot of fine art classes, and I started not doing my art assignments. Instead, was painting models and miniature. And And I remember at the end of the year, my art teacher let me just turn in all my painted miniatures for my final grade.
Oh, that's a great way of getting a pass.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it's helped me. Painting has, I don't know how far you want me to go into it, but painting has been a huge part of just my career in art and models and gaming in general really started me off on like the art journey. And then that's, where I am today. I'm a what's called a technical artist for electronic arts. I work on the Madden football games.
Oh, get out of here. Seriously?
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So
I've played Madden football in my past, believe it or not, being an Aussie. I had a good friend who lived in Hawaii, and he sort of got me onto it, and we used to play against each other. And yeah, a lot different from Aussie rules. I'll give you that tip right now.
Yeah. American football is it's challenging, I think, for most people to pick up. Even myself, as one of the developers, like all the play systems and choosing the right play it's more tactical than it is like a straight on like a soccer game where it's just simply you got to get the ball and get the ball in the goal and that's it.
Yeah.
American football can be tricky for sure.
And a lot of Aussies playing football over there, particularly in the college games.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're very good at doing long punts. So they sort of, they'll bring an Aussie across on a scholarship and, because we can kick a football from here to forever sort of thing. That's the way we're sort of brought up. And they've even saying, I was watching a documentary where it's even sort of slightly changing the game at the college level in regards to how football's played. Doesn't seem to be translating across to your NFL for some reason, which I'm not really too sure of why. But anyway, that's a bit of sort of football sort of discussion there. I think we might leave that.
I mean, how many games have come down to the kicker? Let's be honest. They're an important member of the team.
Oh, definitely.
But I mean, some of our guys are getting paid like millions of bucks just to sort of step on and sort of, convert your field goal by doing a punt or a kick, and that's it, and they walk off again. Whereas, in Aussie rules, you're playing 4 quarters of 20 minutes, and it's just full on 20 minutes. There's no stopping.
Yeah.
Unlike, American football, where sort of every couple of minutes they sort of stop and everybody stands around, has a rest, and get up and go again.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize that pace is actually dictated because they broadcast it.
Yes, I heard that as well. So that's an actual fact.
Only reason. Yeah, that's the only reason why football is paced like that is because so they can break for commercials and get airtime for commercials. That's why football games are broken up like that.
Wow, here in Australia, the game is just televised, and whenever there's a goal kicked, you get about maybe 20, 30 seconds, and that's when they slip an ad in there before the ball starts again, yeah.
Yeah, the American football, they've literally changed the structure of all football from what I gather, simply just to cater to the commercials.
Well, that's really an amazing sort of story where you've gone from sort of painting figures and it's led you on this fantastic and amazing career path where you're sort of doing it in the gaming world now. It's absolutely fascinating, and I'm gobsmacked by that. You mentioned something before about before we sort of started talking. You said something about the Golden Demon Award.
Yeah, so when I was going back to high school, I was painting a lot of miniatures. And, my art teacher begrudgingly allowed me to turn in those models at the end of my high school art year, telling me it wasn't going to amount to much, and he kind of didn't take it seriously as an art teacher back then. So I kept painting after high school, and I think it was probably 93 is when I won the Golden Demons, where I had continued to paint after high school for a couple of years. I moved around a bit. I ended up in New Jersey going to college. Ironically enough, my game models got me into college for my fine art degree. I didn't have anything to show. Yeah, I had nothing to show as an artist. I wanted to do computer graphics. The only thing I had was a couple of computer-generated art, and I had all of my Games Workshop models that I had painted, all my Warhammer models. And so I took my models with me to my portfolio review at the Fine Arts College, and they let me into fine arts essentially because I had all of these models painted.
Oh, wow. That's a heck of a story.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of funny. All these kids had like these fancy portfolios, and everything. I walk in there, with just a couple of digital pieces and my case of gaming miniatures at the time, and they actually accepted me to the university to study Bachelor of Fine Arts in Computer Animation and Graphics at the time. So,
wow.
So it was around that time. It was I had actually won the Golden Demons at that point because I had relocated to Jersey, and funny story, I was to continue to paint. I used to visit my games store in Jersey, and I used to bring my models in that I was painting. And the guy, the comic book store is still around, called Time Warp Comics in New Jersey. I brought my models in, and he said, wow, you can really paint. He said, we go to Games Workshop Games Day every year down in Maryland. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you should come with us. You should enter. I was like, okay. And he goes, you can take anything you want off the wall. He's like, I don't care. He's like, take whatever you want and take it home and paint it. As long as you paint it and bring it with you. He's like, we'll drive you down there and you can enter. So I grabbed a Striking Scorpion Karendros Phoenix Lord model as the model piece, and I painted that. And I went down there with my one model and they drove me down there, the guys that ran the comic book shop, and I entered the painting competition with my single model.
And how old were you at this stage?
I was 20.
Okay.
I was 20. I was out of high school, and I was like 2 years into college.
Sure.
So I entered the one model, and all the greats were there. Is it Dave Gallagher, Jess Goodwin, who's the father of Space Marines and father of what we know as a Space Marine. He was there. Jess was there with all the sketchbook. I just entered the one model and waited for it to get through the approval process. It made top 10 single miniature, and I was like, awesome. And then they picked top three, and I won top 3, and I was elated at the time. And then at the awards ceremony at the very end, they don't tell you who the Golden Demon winner is, at least at the time. They basically, at the very end of the games day, they give out all the awards for single, first, second, and third place in each category. So it's like Warhammer single miniature, vehicle, fantasy, yada yada yada. So I went up stage and I got my single award for the first place Warhammer single miniature, and I went back down off the stage, and I was just kind of like celebrating with my friends. I think my friends were more excited than I was because I didn't really realize what was going on. And then they announced the Golden Demon final winner, and they called my name, and I wasn't really paying attention. And my friends were like, "You just won the whole thing." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, I didn't know what was really going on. I was going, well, "What do you mean? And they were like, "You just won the whole thing. You need to go back up on stage." And so I went back up on stage, and then they gave me a full-size bolt rifle, and Jess Goodwin handed it to me, which was probably the single greatest thing ever, was not winning Golden Demons, but having the award handed to you by Jess Goodwin.
Yeah.
Father of Warhammer 40K. I mean, that was quite the moment at the time.
Geez, Netflix should get a series on this. This is very cool. I just finished watching the Queen's Gambit for about the third time again just the other night, and this sounds like a perfect script for that for a show like that. Wow.
So I don't know that much, claim to know much about the whole Golden Demon thing, but don't they make you hold a sword? Like you get to hold a sword?
It was a sword almost every year except for that year. They gave out a full-size bolt rifle mounted on a giant wooden plaque. I actually have it in the other room still in my house, and it's full-size bolt rifle.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In a way, that's kind of more special, isn't it?
Yeah. And so I did enter the second year, and funny enough, as I got down to finals again, and I didn't. I think I won like first or second place. I think I won first place Warhammer Single Miniature again the second year, if I remember correctly. And then I was up for Golden Demon again, and I didn't get it the second year. But then I later found out that they changed the rules where Games Workshop, where Golden Demon winners were not allowed to win 2 years in a row.
Right.
So my friends used to tell me, they're like, well, you didn't win 2 years in a row, but they changed the rules because of you. And I was like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Do you build anything else besides Warhammer? Is there any other sort of genres that you've sort of dipped your toe into?
Gosh, I was such a Warhammer. I just loved the Warhammer models. I mean, at the time, to be honest, there wasn't any other model manufacturer that was sculpting at the same level as Games Workshop back in those days. I mean, there was some Ral Partho, there was some Rapham, but there was some BattleTech stuff, which was really cool at the time. But these days, like, I have a great admiration for Infinity, by today. I still love like the Privateer press that was started by Mike McVeigh, of course, which goes back to the Games Workshop Heavy Metal days painting, which when I used to follow Games Workshop, Mike McVeigh was a god, and he started, of course, Privateer press back in the day. I love their War Machines models, and their sculpts are really cool. But these days it's tough to paint. I love the hobby, but it's just the folks now are just so good too. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So let's step forward now to the actual app, and sort of what can you talk to us about the genesis as to how you sort of came to wanting to design and produce the PaintRack app?
Yeah, I was working at a software engineering company. I was a visual UI designer at the time, and apps were the craze, right? Back then, back in which one was that? That was 2015.
Yeah, it's almost like every man and his dog was producing an app. It's kind of like what podcasts are now. Every man and his dog's doing a podcast now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the time when we thought, well, let's make an app. And so I approached one of the software engineers I was working with at the time and say, hey, we should make an app. I'll do all the UX and the design, and I'll come up with a concept, and you can do all the back end work. And he was like, okay, it's cool. So I was dabbling in the hobby at that time. I still love painting. I just unfortunately don't have the time for it. And I had the idea, and I was looking at my paint. I literally have a paint rack in my hobby room, and all the Vallejo bottles are, of course, turned back end out, and it's grid system on the rack. It's like rows and rows and rows.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I was like, it'd be kind of cool if I had an app where I could keep track of my paints, and I could scan the barcode just to keep, because I kept buying the same paints over and over and over. When I go to the store, I would forget,
yes,
I need a black?
Yes.
Black and white? Yeah, right? Yeah. And so I was like, it'd be cool if I had an app where I could just scan the barcode and it would tell me if I have the paint or not have the paint. And I could keep track of stuff. And I was looking at my paint rack, and all the bottoms of the Vallejo paints looked like little dots. And I was like, that'd be cool. That could be the UI, like little dots that look like paints on a paint rack, like the bottom of the paint bottles. And so I just said, hey, how about this idea for, tracking paints, hobby app? Because I'm tired of buying the same paints and not knowing what I have in my library. And so that's kind of where the concept came from.
And to me, that works really well, because I'm a very visual person. So unlike, I guess, some other apps that I've tried in the past for paint, this one you can open up and immediately you can see whether you have it or you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
So the full sort of circle color means you've got it, and the other circle with a little donut, or the donut version, I want to say, it indicates to you don't have it. So it's just so easy to use. And the other added feature you got where you scan the barcode and automatically uploads it to the app. I mean, that's just fantastic. It really works well.
Yeah, thanks. That was the core component of the app, was as a software developer, I'm an artist, I have a fine arts degree, and I have a computer science background as well. So I kind of got this mixture of artist and computer science and programming. And so for me, the artist side of me just wanted to make a really good quality app for people who paint. Like that was my goal. Like it was easy to use and it was a quality app. Like there's a lot of apps out there that are money grabs. And we felt that like there was an underserved group of people who wanted a really good quality app that was stable, they wouldn't lose their data.
Yes.
That kind of stuff was like really, really important to me. And also like from a visual side, I wanted the app to be like, pretty to look at. And the paint would always take precedence. The color of the paint was the kind of the hero of the app. So, the app is very subtle. It's subdued. There's a lot of grays and dark tones because the paints are supposed to be the hero of the app. And, people tell us all the time, they want a white background. They want a black background. I'm like, no. I'm like, the background's neutral gray for a reason. It's because neutral gray is the best way for you to make a judgment on the color saturation, hue, and value of the paint you're looking at, because the background is this intentionally a neutral gray. And there's some trickery we do there because it's neutral gray in some areas, it's not in others, because if it was neutral gray, then some paints wouldn't show up. So it was all about the presentation of the paint and the artist being able to like look and see the paint they want and get to see the color for what it was.
Yeah. And the other thing too, which it's, obviously a scanning thing, but the other thing that was important to me too is that you cover not only the major brands, but also some of the minors in there as well. So it's a huge range. That must be a nightmare for you to try and keep up with all the paint releases that are going on.
Oh, it is. You have no idea. Yeah. We started out, we had, I think 4 manufacturers like Reaper, Vallejo, Secret Weapon, I think maybe a couple others, and we had like 1,500 paints. We thought, how many paints could there possibly be? How hard could this be?
Exactly.
And
yeah, actually, because I've been using this app for a few years now, and while we're chatting, I've been scrolling through it, and I'm actually surprised how many bottles of Guns Flat Clear I've got. 13.
It's that we have 25,000 separate paint entries.
Wow.
I think we have 52 paint manufacturers all around the globe. It's very, very hard. I mean, initially when we started, I actually bought every single Citadel physical paint. Like I called up some hobby shop and I said, hey, I got to buy some paint. And they said, what do you need? I need every Citadel.
And that's where they rub their hands together and go, thank you.
Yeah, I think it was like $400 at the time. And I said, just give me one of everything. And the guy's like, okay. So yeah, and I physically had to like write the barcodes off of every bottle and the name and everything by hand. Fortunately, a lot of things have gotten digital, so it's a little bit easier for us now to do it. And we are really like fortunate and blessed in that a lot of the companies now realize the popularity of the app, and so we can drop a line to Vallejo and say, hey, you guys release new paints. Can you send us the data? And Vallejo will be like, sure. And they'll send us like, a gig of just data of like color swatches, PDFs, bottle photos of everything. And so most manufacturers now, they'll contact us and they'll be like, like Monument Hobbies is kind of an up and coming manufacturer who's really respected these days. Those folks are great. They'll send it. They'll just be like, we're coming out with new paint. Here's all the information.
Wow.
So we've been very fortunate. Sometimes we got to get clever. Like I've actually like written some tools that data mine and strip data from websites, where it will literally like go to I've written some code where it'll go to a website and it will actually data mine and strip all the data from the site. And if there's images, it will actually download the image as a color sample, like a pixel color, and convert it to hex and save it off in a spreadsheet. And and it'll basically have written tools to like strip data from sites to make the process easier.
Wow. But PaintRack, above and beyond that, is more than just a way of keeping track of your paint. There's some other really clever tools in there, which I must admit I haven't dived in and used yet, but they're certainly available there. Do you want to sort of step us through perhaps some of the other little cool gizmos that you can do with the app?
Yeah, the core features is the library. You can, again, we give people the ability to have full access to the library. They can track all their paints for free. So that's like the core feature. Believe it or not, we still get flack from people where you charge $3 for your app, and I'm like, dude, you probably own 200 paints, which is $3 a pop. Yeah. I'm like, and we give you access to the entire library and track everything for free. That's like $25,000. So you've got the library, you've got the wish list, which is like, hey, I need this. I need to buy another one of these. We've got the sets, which, I will admit the sets feature is one of those legacy features that we just kind of came up with at one time. We're shocked to see people how you use the sets. You can input a model name and you can put down a head or a sword, and you can track the paint you use for that particular component of the model. At some point, we're going to revisit sets, and make it a better feature. One of the cool things about the sets is you can dump the data and do a share, and it simply just dumps the entire set off as a text file or an email, and you can send your set to somebody.
The paint subsets are really cool because the amount of times I've painted something and I've put it away on the shelf of doom, and I've come back to it 2 or 3 years later, and I go, oh, damn, I can't remember what paint I actually used on that one.
Yes.
And with this one, with this little sort of tool, you can actually punch in, and you've got to even download the boots on the model, or the grenades on the model, or the helmet on the model. Obviously, we're talking about a figure here, so you can go back and see exactly what paints you used in the past, and that's great if you want to replicate something again in the future, 2 or 3 years down the track, and for the life of you can't remember what paints you used on that particular model. So I reckon it's a great little tool.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you can even go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I can really see how that would be useful for army painters, who want to make a whole consistent set of troops.
Yes. As a model painter, that was exactly the intent. It was like, we got to do this. And you can even scan the barcode off of the paint bottles to create the sets, which was key. Like, if I'm sitting there and I'm painting a model and I've got 4 shades of blue, you can actually just scan the barcode off the paint bottle, store them in a set, so you don't have to type it in or anything and search.
That's really clever.
Yeah, we want to revise that feature and add the ability to have a photo for your miniature next to the name of the set, and be able to share the set with other people. We get that, and for listeners, yes, we totally want to do that. One of the things we're struggling with as developers is that if we want to add those kind of abilities of sharing, David, you share your set with me and I share my set with you, is that we would have to go to a login account structure where people would actually have to log into a PaintRack account before they could use the app, and the app would always have to be tethered online. And so, Jeff and I go back and forth where we want to give you folks these options of what we call sets and sharing sets, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to hear how you folks hear, what your thoughts are. We don't want to go to a force you to log in, force you to use it online kind of structure. So we're struggling with it.
Yeah, for me, I think it's just the portability of the app. You sort of, you just wander along and you carry it in your pocket all the time. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
and then again, jumping online is not such a big drama anyway.
No,
you can do it from nearly anywhere on the planet nowadays.
Yeah.
Just you just got to press 2 buttons maximum, and you're there.
We do it all the time when you open up Facebook, don't you?
Yeah. So I don't see a problem with that. I think that's a fantastic idea that you can do the sharing. Yeah, definitely.
It'd be cool if there was some functionality to share ratios as well. because people, especially beginners.
Oh, we do like custom colours.
Yeah. Beginners get very attached to like, oh, what percentage of blue did you add to that mix when you made that? You know, I mean, later on it doesn't make any. It becomes less important as you go along, and you sort of realize that it's just about shades and tones and things like that. But at the start, you want recipes, you know.
Well, don't you have? Isn't that part of what the color tools thing is within the app?
So the color tools is a color matching algorithm that you can select a color from the library. Let's just say blue, and then it will match across all of the paints that we have in our database. It will find the closest blue to the one you've selected across all of the paint manufacturers. So if you have a Citadel like particular blue and you want to know what the equivalent would be in Army Painter or Vallejo or Monument Hobbies or Scale Color, AK Interactive, it'll give you like an approximation, like a match closest of that blue in that process manufacturer. And not only that, but it actually has match is one option, and then it gives you the complement to that blue, which of course is orange. And so it will give you like the closest complement to blue of, orange based on manufacturer, what's in your library. And then we go into like showing you based on that blue, what is the triadic matches and what is the analogous color matches. That's kind of like my crazy like fine art computer background is I'm big into math. And so we basically, what we do is we take the color that you select, the blue, and we convert it to this format called LAB, and then we match that LAB values. We convert the blue to numerical values, and then we match numerically using an algorithm to figure out what is the closest blue in all these cases. And that was really cool, because for me, it was like one of the fun things that we implemented is this color tools that allows you to pick a color, and then you can find a matching or you can find an analogous, and then it helps. And it's become really popular. We were excited about is the colorblind community uses that functionality.
We've never thought of that.
Another cool adaptation would be if you could have a section where you could literally scan a color.
Like a photo of it.
Use your camera to scan a color, and then
you can.
It's on there.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, I should look at it more in depth then. There you go.
You can use the camera on your phone. You can tap the screen. You can basically just use your camera and tap the screen anywhere where the target is, and it will grab that pixel color from your camera, and it'll actually find a matching, it'll find an analogous, and then there's another feature where you can open an image on your phone, and you can pick a pixel from your image, and then it will also find a matching, a complement, an analogous, and a triadic. And then you can, if you want, you can just import like any RGB or hex color value. Like Jeff and I are tremendous, math nerds. And so we implemented a pretty sophisticated system.
That is so awesome.
And the beauty about that is you can be wandering around a museum.
That's what I was thinking.
You can see like this really odd tank or something, and providing a light sort of good enough, just go click, and because you say, I've never seen that camouflage pattern before. You go
or that colour,
yeah. So I reckon that's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you can load a photo. You can pull up a photo on your monitor if you want, and then just take the app with your phone and go to the camera mode and color tools. It just right off your monitor, you can try to grab the color and then see if you can find matching. Now, keep in mind, the matching is a little tricky because the color that we have saved in the database is a color which we've either taken from a website or the manufacturer's given it to us, or that was the color at that point in time when they printed that batch of paints.
Yeah.
And so there's always people sometimes get in our cases and they say, well, it's not even close. And it's like, man, there's so many factors.
Yeah.
We try.
And paint manufacturers change the tones of their paints too.
Well, and even paint exposed to UV light over a period of time, so it changes in its hue and colour as well. And there's then, if you're using a photograph, is it Kodachrome, and what were the light conditions when that photo was taken? There's so many variables.
Yeah, we really try to keep like sometimes people will they'll send us a message, and we want them to send us messages. Like if we've got a color that's like completely wrong in our phone, then they'll send us a message and be like, this color's not even close. It's like, okay, cool, we'll fix it, and then we just fix it and patch it in the next update. And then going back to the custom color question, to answer that, we do get that question a lot with people having custom colors. That is like probably the number one feature that we know we have to address is custom colors.
Sure.
And the ability for folks to add them. We're trying to figure out how we squeeze that in the UI, how we show that and depict that in the UI, because we don't want to use the circles, because circles dictate, paints. So we're thinking about, do we go with the square icon that dictates that like custom colors, that swatch is a custom color, and then where do we save it? Do we if Dave, you enter a custom color for a Vallejo or something, or where do we put it in the app? It's the logistics is insane when you're dealing with 25,000 paints.
Yeah, it would be
data.
I just want to say that I just quickly checked, and I do have the app installed on my phone, and I haven't been using it because
you didn't realize what it all did.
Well, I mean, it was one of those sort of things where people were like, "Oh, have you seen this app?" And I give it a go, and you've got it there, and you ditched one app for another app because you were like, "Okay, well, that one didn't have all of the paint brands that I have," and then I just sort of didn't look at it for a long time. But lately, it's been really getting away from me on the remembering to buy this paint, and I'm out of stock on that paint.
For you, then.
And then and I've recently gone through all my Citadel paints and realised that a lot of them are dried up, so I'm going to have to boot them off the list, right?
And the wish list feature is really cool because you can be sitting at your desk, at your bench, and you go, I'm running out of this paint, or I need this particular paint. Add it to your wish list, and then when you're down at the hobby store, or indeed when you're scrolling through an online site, you can actually see that underhand, what paint you need.
Yeah. The point I was making is that it's been a while since I've actually examined any of these sort of apps.
Okay.
And I'm glad that we've had him on this podcast, because I haven't realized how far they've come in that time.
Yeah. Come a long
and
way.
I've had the app sitting on my phone for who knows how long, and I didn't realize that it had that many features. And
I've been using mine for a while, but I didn't realise about the colour picking thing.
Yeah, well, see, for me, it suits me.
I've just been using it for the library. Whereas now I'm going to utilise it a lot more. But
what I do follow, and from time to time I sort of pop along on your Facebook page there, Scott, which is PaintRack, and I notice you guys are quite active and interactive with your community or with your customers as well.
Yeah, we try. I mean, this is this is an app that Jeff and I, we just support on weekends and stuff. We have full-time jobs. We're software developers, but we continue to constantly update it. There's a month will go by and Jeff will be like, we haven't done an update. We've got to do an update. And, we're updating at least every month, at most 2 months, adding paints, fixing features. And so we try to I try with the Facebook pages, we try to be really respectful of the users. Because Jeff and I, we have full-time jobs, we try to use the Facebook page to share when manufacturers are actually releasing new paints or something. We're really careful not to spam people.
Yeah.
And probably it's funny, is Lucian, I think one of the things I think we probably don't do enough of is when Jeff will come up with a crazy feature and we'll just put it in the app and we'll just put it in the app and update the app. We don't go through this huge marketing campaign to inform people, because we don't want to spam people or just overburden people with too much. And so if anything, we probably communicate to our users, but we do try with the Facebook page to support. We're big on supporting local game shops, big on supporting guys like Monument Hobbies and Vallejo and Army Painter and Scale Color. When they've got new stuff, we will post on the page specifically paint related releases, but we try to avoid spamming folks just for respect.
Sure.
Well, you got your work cut out, because it seems these days every paint brand wants to bring out say a new contrast line, and then every other brand of paint has to copy them, and
Yes.
That was a big wave. Speed paints, boy, speed paints this time last year was just out of control.
So is there any chance of seeing SMS paints in
They
the
are
future?
there. SMS paints are there.
They were.
Yep.
I didn't
100%.
see
it's under the full name,
Yeah.
the Scale Model
Scale Model
Supply.
Supply.
That's why I didn't see it. I was looking for
Yeah.
SMS.
Yeah, no,
don't have
definitely there.
don't have to worry about that. Scrub that.
And I did just check, and it has MRP under the old name, Mr. Paint.
Ah, right. Okay. Yep. So they got the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, they've since changed their name because I believe they were getting a little legally liable with that Mr.
because of
convention.
guns.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah, funny enough, we have good relations with, I think, Scott. He has the same name as I do.
Yeah.
SMS. He was fantastic. We reached out to him and said, hey, would you want, can we add your paints? And so he was like, yeah, sure. And we set up what we do is we set up a Google Doc data spreadsheet that has a format that people can fill out for us, and they'll put in all the paint data. And Scott just got back to us. It was right around their infinite color release, and he provided all the paint data, and it was fast turnaround. And I've reached out to Scott, I think in the last couple of months, and he's been really good about getting back to us immediately.
Yeah, Scott's really great. He's a major sponsor of our show, and he's just so responsive. Local Victorian boy as well, which is great. And
he's very forward thinking on all these sort of things. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
What I wouldn't mind touching on is that, and feel free obviously to answer this and dive in as deeply as you want or don't want to, Scott, because obviously there might be some proprietary information there. But I mean, as modelers, we often talk about, wouldn't it be great to sort of, develop a model on our own? But when you start diving into the costs of designing it and then getting it manufactured, producing the molds to make the model, what's it like when in the world of doing apps? Is there sort of some significant sort of price barriers there, or is it? What's your journey been going through the actual development side of it?
Well, one thing I found is that, I always had ideas for apps. That was prior to going back to school for computer science. And I found that it was impossible for me to find somebody else to make my idea. No matter how great I thought my idea was, I just had to do it myself because it was very difficult. And so I literally went back to school and figured out and learned how to make apps and programming and stuff, and then hooked up with Jeff, and then he and I worked together. So Jeff will sometimes lay the foundation of the code, and then I'll go in there and I'll pull down the code, and I'll go in and I'll actually do some minor UI work and do some tweaking and stuff. So when it comes to the app market, it's expensive if you want to have somebody make your own app. And to be honest, you kind of have to roll up your sleeves and do it yourself, because that's the only way you're going to get the app that you want on your time frame. I just could not get anybody else to work. I mean, I had this idea for PaintRack before I even, went back to school for computer science, and I couldn't get anybody to work on it with me.
Right.
And so I had to just kind of roll up my sleeves and do it myself.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad it was you because
You've done a great job.
Yeah, I mean, it seems you've got like you said, the science background and the computer science background and the arts side of things, and you're obviously invested in the hobby, and that's the only way we would get an app that would actually meet our needs. Because I'm sure it's very easy for some app developer in Southeast Asia to whip up some kind of an app that would seem like it does the job, and then you actually go to use it and it's like, oh, well, it falls short, right?
Yeah, there's some really crazy idiosyncrasy, subtleties in the app that Jeff and I will go back and forth on. And I'm just like, Jeff, I'm like, you got to believe me, as an artist, it's got to work for the painter. As a painter, they want to be able to open the app, they want to use it, they want to find the paint, they don't want any fluff, they don't want anything in the way. It's got to be streamlined for their needs. And sometimes you go back and forth where the Android standard or the Apple UX user experience standard is this or that, and I'm like, just no, we got to do it this way. This is the way like painters and hobbyists like want to use the app. And ironically, like at the time, there wasn't a paint app really like that at the time that the specific user interface and the way the app works. We had to engineer like the entire structure of the app. And so, we had to make everything up as we went along. It was like, okay, when the app opens, it opens to the library and you get all the color and it's bright and vibrant and you tap on something. When you tap on a paint, you get the details. And we had to design that whole user interface. There was no structure at the time of like what a paint app looks like. And subsequently, people have kind of borrowed from our UX design and borrowed from our iconography. Funny enough, I go to web pages now and I see little paint circles, and I'm like, hey, they're ours. But we had to design all that. We had to design the whole UX experience, the flow of like tapping on a paint, adding a paint, opening up the color tools. What does a wish list look like? What does a color tools look like? How does that work? We had to engineer not only the logic and the code, but we had to engineer the visual. And my ideology is if the UX works seamlessly and you're not really thinking about it, then we've done a good job.
Yeah.
Like if it works good that you don't even think about it as a user, then we've done our job.
Yeah.
And so we try to engineer it like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, the only other app that comes close to that I would have actually used in any kind of capacity and falls short is the official Warhammer one, and that's obviously only limited to their paint, and even then it's not that great.
It's a bit clunky.
It is.
Yeah.
It's funny because they came 2 years after us. We were kind of surprised, and I was like, there's a wish list. What a surprise.
Scott, it's been wonderful having you on the show.
Yes.
Congratulations for a fantastic product. I've been using it for many years now. For the cheap amount of buying it, it's just saved me so many hassles and saved me, was it $3 now, $5 for the full?
I think it's $5. I think it's $5. I think paint's gotten expensive, man.
Yeah. So it's well worth it, and it's I consider it a tool that I use on a modelling bench every sort of day almost now. So, where can people go to find the app?
Oh, you can go to Android, or you can go to the Apple Store and search for PaintRack, all one word. It's paint with a capital R-A-C-K.
Fantastic. Yes. And you're also on Facebook as well?
Correct. Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. I think we're under Twitter. We're under Courageous Octopus.
Yes,
which is the company.
Yes. Yep. All right. Wonderful. Scott, thanks very much, mate.
Yes.
Wonderful having you on the show, and can't wait to see what your next app's going to be. That should be it. Thanks, Scott. It's been awesome having you on the show. Talk to you again soon. Well, that was a fantastic and interesting and sometimes over the top of my head discussion with Scott.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating guy. So he's got arts and he's computer science.
Mm-hmm. Accomplished miniature painter.
A winner of a Golden Demon, I should say. He's a maths geek as well.
You're going to say Golden Dragon, weren't you?
I was going to say Golden Dragon, yes.
But, and learning so many things because I've been using that.
And then works for EA Games doing Madden football.
Yeah.
Wow.
And and also learning that there was a lot more to the app than I realised that I just haven't really looked into.
Yeah.
That
was awesome.
I feel the need to say, no, we are not sponsored by them at all. We just happened to take an interest in their product because it's a good product.
Yeah, 100%. And
so no bias here.
No.
Yeah, because I was listening to you guys talk about it, and I thought, someone might misconstrue this as like a...
It's not a paid for view.
Yeah, as a bit,
what's it called? Paid commentary.
Yeah, pay per view. Yeah.
Paid commentary,
like a sponsored
no,
segment or something. No, that's
and
not
look,
the case.
as always, if we come across something good, we'll share it with you guys and happily. And we've always done this as a show. We've always backed and supported anybody who's sort of doing good within the hobby. And,
exactly.
these guys are doing just that. It's a great little tool. So yeah,
Totally love it.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
I'm just glad that we can shine a little spotlight
Yeah.
on that app, because I mean it's pretty, like, you just see them on the App Store and you don't know.
And you'd be
one from
surprised how
another,
many people
right?
wouldn't know they exist.
And that's the other thing too with this, like Julian said, there's so many different apps out there. You don't know which is the good one and which is the bad one. So, and I'm not saying there are the other painting apps that are available are bad. It's just that my experience with
This one
PaintRack
is so much easier
has
to use.
always been, and I've tried a couple of others which I won't mention, which I found
Well,
not as easy to
yeah,
use.
I mean, even if there was a comparable app,
Yeah.
I'd be inclined to use this one just
Yeah.
because now that I've spoken to the
Yeah.
guy behind it,
Scott,
it's like,
yeah.
I know that the direction, I can invest in
Yeah,
it sort of thing. I can
Yeah.
invest my time and effort of bloody punching in all my different paint into it because,
You don't have to.
but they have to you just scan it.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Scan
I
the
mean, like,
barcode.
even doing that is not, that's like an afternoon's work.
Actually, I'll tell you
right?
the frustrating part about doing the scanning is when you go to a hobby shop and they've put the sticker price over the barcode and you try to peel it off and it just won't work.
Yep.
Oh, it annoys it.
Or it takes the top layer of the label off.
Oh, it annoys the heck out of me.
Yeah, I mean, so like it's good to know that it'd always be heading in a good direction.
Yeah, yeah. Yep,
Right.
Yep.
Because a lot of these apps, you know, like they'll be along there for a while and they'll fall off, and you're like, okay, well now I have to migrate to another app, right? Okay,
Totally agree.
yeah.
All right,
That's all I want.
let's bring this home.
Sounds like a plan.
Ian.
Well, thanks for listening. Adios, and see you in 2 weeks' time.
No worries. Julian?
Yes, I have a weekend of things I should get done. So
Oh. So can I promote next fortnight show?
Yeah.
let me think. Let me think about it, Dave. Sure. Okay, I'll let you do it this time
Thank you.
because I have that much power on this podcast.
Our next subject in the next show is going to be YouTube and the influence on the modelling scene. And to help with that discussion, we've got Clayton Knockleby coming on because
Yay.
obviously he's got a YouTube channel.
Oh no! I mean, yeah. It'll
on
be
you.
good to have him back.
Awesome.
Sure.
The old mate Clay.
And that'll be sort of our lead up before we head off up to Canberra. So it should be really cool. All
It's
right.
going to be an awesome trip.
So don't forget, there's a whole range of other fantastic hobby podcasts or modelling podcasts out there if you'd listen to. Just go to modelpodcast.com, which is set up by our good mate Stuart in Canada. And check out all the other fantastic shows to listen to. And don't forget, give all of them a rating on whatever app you're using. It just helps lift the visibility of all these podcasts to those who are searching for them. So have a fantastic fortnight, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.